What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video, and today it is finally time we do another poll watch video. I know we've been doing a ton of these lately, but we have a new poll out of the great state of Arizona that shows Republicans are not only gaining on Democrats, but they're surging. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow the mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, also join the channel. That is right, folks. For just 10 cents a day, you can join Real American Politics. I recommend you join it today, as it's only 10 cents a day. Help support the channel. And yeah, so let's get into it, folks. We got some new polling data from Emerson College. Of course, we're going to do another poll watch video because, well, that's the big thing right now. And it's a new poll that, when you look at the top lines, all right, you look at the Senate race, Mark Kelly is winning by around 2 points. And for the governorship, I think they have the race, literally tied. If I'm not mistaken, they have the race tied. Now, the top lines, like we've done this series, they're kind of, how would I say this nicely? They can be misleading. Now, before we continue, right here, yeah. So Republicans are tied for the gubernatorial race. And you look at some of this stuff here. You look at some of the demographics. You notice there's a problem here. Like, this is one of the demographics, rural votes. Now, with Arizona, historically, the rural votes, excuse me, has been a bit more Democrat. It always has been a bit more of a Democrat vote compared to the country. And you look at the exit polls, you scroll down here. Again, exit polls are not the best in the world, but Fox actually had decent exit polls in 2020. Not perfect, but it gives you a story. Trump only won Arizona rurals by 14 points. The reason for this is simple. The native tribes. That's the best way to describe it. There's a lot of native votes in the state of Arizona. That's kind of why that the rural vote isn't all that, super uber duper Republican. But still, this group in the state of Arizona voted Republican by roughly 14 points. This poll here only has Hobbs winning these voters by 3. But at the same time, all right, this is where it gets a bit weird. At the same time, they have this race literally tied. You starting to see where I'm getting at, that there's probably something missing here. We'll get to that. But as you can see here, the top lines actually look kind of good for the Republicans. The Senate race within the margin of error. And you could keep going. Also, this is an interesting one. Does the recent FBI search on Mar-a-Lago make you more or less likely to support Donald Trump if he runs for re-election? For the state of Arizona, 40% said they're more likely to support Donald Trump. Independents, 34%, but the less likely actually goes down. And look at the white vote. 38% more likely, 32% less likely, but the Hispanic vote, this is what drags it up. 47% more likely than 23% less likely. A 24% gap with Hispanics. That's huge! And it proves my point that this whole Mar-a-Lago is going to hurt Trump is nonsense. Even in Arizona, where the white vote in the state isn't as Republican as the rest of the country is. I mean, Trump only won the white vote in Arizona by not that much compared to other states. You go here, only by 8 points. That's a couple points less than the rest of the country. The reason that he did kind of good is, well, he did pretty good with the non-white vote. The Hispanic vote, obviously, he got like 42% here. It's not that crazy when you really look at it at Arizona, because Arizona, the white vote here is kind of weird. They're just such a high share of the amount that, 71% the vote is white. And I think nationwide, Republicans won this vote by 12. So it was a bit more Democrat compared to the nation. But either way, it's funny to see the Hispanic vote. I mean, you look here, Trump's winning the Hispanic vote in Arizona. Now he's also winning the white vote, which again, You look at some of these, it's like, how do you get Trump winning only by 3, but you have winning Hispanics by 4, and winning white voters by 6? It's like, you start getting some questionable things. But either way, it's time we finally look at the crosstabs, because the top lines are good and all, but there are some questions I do have for this poll. And you go down here, and this is where I do have some significant problems with this poll. Let's start with my favorite thing to look at, edumacation. You know me, I love looking at education for exit poll, or not just exit polls, but also crosstabs. And this is where I notice there's a big problem. There is a big problem with this poll. According to Emerson, 63% of its poll sample was college grad or less than college grad. That means 63% are very favorable Republican votes. Here's the problem. This is the problem I've been noticing with Emerson this entire cycle. Look here. 64% did not have a college degree, according to the Fox exit polls. 64%. They're claiming that, well, the college grad, less than college degree people, they're actually going to turn out less in 2022. That's not right. You see my skepticism with some of this stuff, and that does actually explain the rural vote, which you go down here, only 64 rural people sampled. Just to let you know, the rural vote in Arizona, we saw this earlier, I believe. It's down here somewhere. 23% was Arizona's electorate, right? Was rural. You see the problem here. Do you notice the problem? They missed a chunk of vote. And that's the problem with Emerson this cycle. They did this stupid thing where they're only including very likely voters. You know the meme. That means voters have voted every single election since frickin' George Bush. The primaries, the frickin', every election, every local election, everything. That's such a small sample. It's like, that's not a good representation of the electorate. A lot of these people that are going to vote this cycle, yeah, they may have not voted in past midterms, but they're going to vote this time around. That's the problem with Emerson going full-on only very likely voters. But even then, this poll was actually a good sign for Republicans. Why? Well, let's look at this. Let's look at Real Clear Politics. Emerson College. This is from 2020, right? Emerson's right here. They had Mark Kelly up by 11. I know this isn't the same month. This is 1 month off. But okay, let's say if they did another poll, you average it out, they would have Kelly up by 8 points. Kelly only won by 2.5. So if we do the exact same error and apply it to this poll here, not only would Kari Lake win by a likely margin, Blake Masters would win by a couple points. You see the problem with Emerson. They did the same thing in 2018. You scroll down here, in October, or I should say this is September, Sinema +6. Earlier, Sinema +8. The final results, Sinema by 2, which will deduct a couple points. Just, you know what I'm talking about. Just, point is, Emerson has a historic problem when it comes to earlier polls. They suck at polls before, basically the last week of October. And we see this. This is from Arizona, the same state. And they did the same thing. Now, you look at some of these crosstabs. And this is my big reason that I truly think that what's left of the undecided vote in this poll is more than likely going to go Republican. All right. Let's scroll here. Undecided. All right. This is undecided. Look at this. 26 out of 35 of the undecided voters in the Arizona gubernatorial race. What is that? 26 divided by 35. That's more than half, if not more than 2/3 of undecided voters for the gubernatorial race. All right? Disapprove of the job Joe Biden's going to do. 74% to be exact. 74% of undecided voters in the gubernatorial race are disapproving the job of Joe Biden. You really think these voters are going to go vote for Mark Kelly if they disapprove of Joe Biden? Sure, some of them may, but these undecided votes, all right, which, by the way, they make up still a big chunk of the Arizona voter. There's 5.5% of the vote that is undecided. If they break, 60-40, Lake wins easily. And the same thing for the Senate race. Let's go here. There's 29 undecided voters. 18 of them disapprove the job Joe Biden is doing. That's almost 2/3, just under 2/3 of undecided voters for the Senate race disapprove of the job Joe Biden is doing. You really think these voters are going to vote for Mark Kelly or Katie Hobbs? Sure, some of them may not vote, but the vast majority of these undecided voters, based on this poll, they're going to vote for the Republicans, all right? The ones that do show up to vote. So this poll on paper shows Mark Kelly winning, but in reality, I wouldn't be confident if I was Mark Kelly. In fact, I would be panicking a little bit, like, oh crap, this isn't good. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show you before we end today's video. People are talking about the biggest issue, all right? 16% of Arizona voters said abortion access was the biggest issue. But once again, folks, this is misleading. You know why? Over half of abortion access voters, they are registered Democrats. All right? Doesn't that say anything? And also, you go to the biggest issue by approval. Right here. It's right here, abortion access. Basically, every single abortion voter approve of the job Joe Biden is doing. Around 80% approve of the job. 82% to be exact. Approve of the job Joe Biden is doing when it relates to abortion access. These voters were going to vote no matter what. People need to understand these voters that say abortion access is the biggest concern. For years, I should just say for years, they're those upper class voters that they're not getting affected by inflation, which, by the way, look at this. What percent is that? 167 divided by 226? Over 70% of the ones that said economy is the biggest issue disapprove the job Joe Biden is doing. Crime? That's even worse. Even COVID, the ones that give a shit about it anymore, they disapprove of him. The only two issues that matter to Democrat voters, all right, the two big issues is abortion and healthcare. Anybody with a brain realizes it's the economy, it's crime, it's immigration, the big three. Education's the only issue where Joe Biden's not in the net negative. But you could keep going. This is what I'm telling people. Even in Arizona, they're showing that the major issues that people give a shit about, abortion's not one of them. It's people that they're fine. They're not getting affected by inflation. They're not getting affected by crime. They're the ones that, they have 3 houses and, they're the ones on Twitter saying, we are, we're the true conservatives. They're former Republicans that never voted Republican. Those are the type of people we're dealing with that they're saying, yes, I support full-on abortion access. I make over $600,000 a year. The economy is great for me. And most of them voted Republican like 30 years ago. It's just a fact. So these people that really think the abortion issue is going to matter, only 16% said so. And you look at it, most of them are going to vote Democrat anyways. Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share it to friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.